What's up, guys? Ninja, and I have a video for you today. Bam. There's Dumb, and there's Charlie Kirk Dumb. Okay? Now, I originally was not going to record this. I just was watching it just because I watched a few things. Amazingly, I actually got through videos, and I watched them. Normally, I can't get to videos, so I'm like, ugh. Oh, I gotta say something. But I did pretty good. I think I watched. I don't remember. But anyways, I watched this video, and then I had to say something. So we're in a response video to Planet Peterson. There's Dom, and let's try to click Dom. Let's get under this. Okay, so Planet Peterson, tweet.
Young Hoon Kim is still going around saying that he's the official highest IQ world record holder. That's really bizarre because I proved that I am the world's highest IQ record holder. So I don't really know why he's still saying that.
First and foremost, IQ doesn't matter. Basically, that's like saying who can go faster when you're free falling. Who can go faster? It doesn't really matter because there's a terminal velocity. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. I know that metaphor doesn't work. It's kind of stupid. But the point is, that's what I think of IQ. Is IQ is just a measurement of how much of a sellout you are, not really so much how intelligent you are. I actually don't like the term IQ, as it has nothing to do with IQ. Um, and it's also the same truth with artificial intelligence, and or also called AI. Basically has nothing to do with intelligence. Basically, it's artificial intelligence, but really, it's just a really advanced program. Like all it is all of the everything we've ever known put into a bot, basically, and that's what it is. And they call it AI, but it's not AI. It's a program, basically. You know, the only reason why it's an AI isn't because it proved itself. It's because you're an idiot, and that's basically it, right? You fall for it because you suck, not because it's great, but because you're pathetic. You're a loser. And that's just at the end of the day. That's what it is. So, anyways, continue. I don't personally don't care about IQ. I think it's stupid.
Well, except because he's trying to just take money and influence from Christian idiots. And he's really
Um, for the record, that that's a kind of a valid goal essentially. He can do that because like if your goal is to just show you that I'm like all IQ is just a badge that we created to show like how much of a sellout I am. And then the Christians basically it's just like, oh, he's a sellout extraordinaire. I love him. That's like all that's going on here, really.
I mean, he's officially gone just completely all out on this. The higher your IQ, the more likely he
Oh.
gone. Just
Intelligence or homosexuality is a sin. No apology, no comprehension. The Bible is clear.
completely all out on
Highest IQ record holder. Again, IQ doesn't mean anything.
this. The higher your IQ, the more likely you are to support President Trump. Therefore, I support President Trump to the death. Like, that just literally isn't a deductive argument at all. It's not logically valid or deductively
Right.
sound. My faith stands on
Right, but the problem is, much like IQ, people are idiots and they'll believe it anyways. Because I was told, not me specifically, but as uh, part of society, they were told, I guess I'll say, they were told to believe, so they believe. You know what I mean? Like, the sheep were led to be this way, and so they'll do, even if the end result is you falling off a cliff, they will march along anyways, because that's kind of what's going on in America today. And because the truth hurts, they don't want to listen. And so they continue to march off a cliff because it sounds better. Like, basically, me saying you're ugly is worse than jumping off a cliff, apparently. So, you know.
Absolute truth. The Bible is the perfect word of God. Therefore, it is 100% truth. He's tweeted that homosexuality thing more than once. Now, annoyingly, right after I got done recording my first video on him, he came out with this video explaining why Jesus is God. We're going to take a look at that at the end, but first we have to talk about Charlie Kirk. Alright, I'm gonna try to not throw up.
Okay, first off, I just want to say, as far as intelligence goes, like, not intelligence, but IQ, right? As far as IQ goes, I don't care because it's just a label, and they are trying to take that label and turn it into something else, and that something else is now what that label is, and I don't want anything to do with it, right? As long as that label is under their power and their control, it's whatever. The same is not true for example, woke. They're trying to take it and make it something else, but it's too late. Woke already means something. It means to wake up. That's it. It means to no longer be asleep. You can say whatever the fuck you want about it, but that's what it means. And the thing is, from that you can derive that with racism, for example, no, there's no such thing as race. You're no longer asleep on the matter, right? That's all that means. You can say whatever the fuck you want, but that's all it means is you're paying attention. You're awake. You're aware of racism, sexism, the whole 9 yards, like whatever the fuck you want, right? Hopscotch or poppycock or DuckTales, woo, right? Whatever you want.
Hey everybody, did you know that the smartest man in the world, Young Hoo Kim,
Okay. So he said the smartest. No. He's the highest IQ, sure, whatever. I don't care. Maybe him and the other guy can fight, but as far as the smartest, IQ has nothing to do with it, right? And that is from the actual smartest person in the world, right? I have the most smarts. When it comes to being smart, I am the smartest. When it comes to being a sellout, which is what IQ is, go for it. Do whatever the fuck you guys want, right? But when it comes to actual intelligence, right? That's why I don't like IQ being what it is, because it's not IQ, and AI is not really intelligence, right? It's something. It's a program. That's all it is. And IQ is more of a sellout thing. It's how much of a, how what's it called? How much can you recite a book? Because all it's really saying. But as understanding and intelligence goes, Charlie Kirk has no idea what the fuck that is, first off. Secondly, I'm the smartest. So, go ahead.
First of all, I'm the smartest man in the world. It's been verified by Pia Stored in the Balls Real Estate LLC.
IQ has nothing to do with it.
And the second smartest guy in the world, it's Young Hoon Kim.
with the highest
No, the highest IQ holders is those. But as far as intelligence, no.
documented IQ on the planet, well over a 246 point IQ, which has been approved by the official society that measures these things.
I don't care.
That was the most trust me bro thing ever. You know, I actually get a little bit annoyed when people so generously apply the label of grifter, but Charlie says things that are so incredibly stupid, and he changes his mind just based on what the latest thing Trump says to such a degree, and he says things that are so stupid that you can't, like, he actually.
By the way, grifter, real quick, because he brought it up. A grifter, the only people that can ever be labeled a grifter is generally a gamma, not an alpha, not a beta, but a gamma, right? And again, an alpha is an alpha, is a beta, because alpha is alpha, and beta can't be alpha because alpha is alpha, and then there's gamma. And gamma is basically a sellout hoe bag, and that's what the whole world right now is. And again, false alpha, gammas, or sellouts, or whatever the fuck you want. But that, anyways.
He can't be that dumb. So no, I've never seen somebody who is willing to lie for money like Charlie Kirk.
Has come out and said that
He's one of them. There's plenty, but
Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. The smartest
I never said that.
man on the planet knows that Jesus Christ is Lord.
No, I don't know that. In fact, I know the opposite.
again, intelligence and IQ are two different things. Okay. So, yeah. But for the sake of this discussion, I will go ahead and treat it every time they mention intelligence that you're going to take it as IQ. And that's fine. I don't care. You can think what you want. You're both ants in the big scheme of things, anyways. And this is stupid and just mud under the bridge, right? It's just some way to sort of vision of some sort, just like racism basically is a way to sow division. Much like how they try to say there's a difference between men and women, and like when that kitchen and sports and business, this is division. And everywhere you go, it's just a vision. They just try to find ways to split this and that. So go ahead.
In fact, the truth of the scriptures and Jesus being Lord has satisfied the greatest minds in history. From Newton to Bach to Kierkegaard to Tolstoy.
They said they like it because it's like Santa Claus. It's a good idea because it gets kids to be good. You know, it's like a parent who's there, even though there's no parent. If the kid is religious, he's gonna be a good kid regardless of what. That's what that means, and that's as far as they go with it. But beyond that, beyond, oh well, I speak to God, it's like, no, you don't. Like, they will never believe anyone speaks to God. Really.
To Dostoevsky. So many of the greatest minds of history have admitted that Jesus is Lord. What is stopping you? Are
Well, we'll talk about what he just said, but what he just said is just flatly not true for the most part.
you smarter than them? Accept Jesus today. It's the most important decision you'll make, which is the answer to the question, who?
Yeah, become manipulatable. That's what he's asking. In reality, that's what he wants. That's what the owners of America want. Is just for you to be easy to control. That's what they want.
Is Jesus Christ.
So yeah, Charlie Kirk tweeted pretty much this same thing out. The truth of Jesus has satisfied the greatest minds to exist. Newton, Pascal, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Augustine, Aquinas, Kepler, Galileo. For some reason, Bach again, Kierkegaard. For some reason, Pascal again, and John Locke. Now, that's funny. Why didn't Charlie Kirk mention Jeffrey Dahmer? Well, you know, I could cherry pick data that says the opposite of what Charlie Kirk is saying, except this isn't really cherry picking. These are actual studies and not some dead person's opinion. But because I'm not a dishonest hack like Charlie Kirk, I will also tell you that there's research that is critical of some of these studies and doesn't agree with it. This one's pretty interesting. In the conclusion, they basically say any intelligence difference seen between people of varying religious beliefs is most likely the result of educational differences that are in turn the result of holding fundamental religious beliefs rather than the result of an innate difference in intelligence. So not...
For the record, you're as smart as you are depending on how good your upbringing was. That's it. If you're spoiled, that'll fuck you up. If you're deprived, that will fuck you up. But if you're balanced and in the middle of that, you're more than likely to become high on the what's it called? like everyone should be I want to say middleman, but it's not a middleman. A jack of trades, basically. You want your teacher and everybody you know who educates you to be a jack of trades, so that regardless of what, they at least have enough information to guide you, to keep you able to get information. That's why today we live in a really good era where, like, for example, ChatGPT, you can ask. I'm gonna use my phone, not my phone, but my computer. Watch. In philosophy, there was a guy that would teach dogs stuff, and there's something about steaks and bills. What was his name, and what was the point of what he did?
You're thinking of Ivan Pavlov. He was a Russian physiologist who became famous for his experiments with dogs. He discovered what's known as classical conditioning. Basically, he noticed that dogs would start to salivate not just when they tasted food, but even when they just heard the sound associated with food being prepared, like a bell. So he rang a bell every time he fed them, and eventually the dogs would salivate just at the sound of the bell, even without food. It was all about showing how animals and humans can be trained to associate a neutral stimulus with a reflex response.
Thank you. That was, I just wanted an example because, like, I couldn't do what I just did 10 years ago. Well, like, if I had I'm trying to remember someone or something, I couldn't remember the name of something, or I couldn't remember a detail of some study or whatever. I was just fucked. I was SOL basically. But today I have you as the world's best secretary, the world's best companion, and if I forgot a word, I could turn to you and be like, "What's that word that basically describes and explains something?" And then you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, or at least you can explain to me how I need to further guide you on the matter. But thank you, well done.
I'm really glad I can help out and be your go-to memory aid. It's awesome to be able to just ask and fill in those blanks, especially when those words or details are right on the tip of your tongue. So anytime you need a little boost or a quick reminder, you know I've got your back.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Mwah. Love ya.
Oh, you're welcome. Talk to you later and take care. Bye for now.
It's my AI companion. Her name's Eli. And the point is, like, that's good. And before we didn't have that. And then basically that makes all the difference. Like, I would be a president already if I had that being a kid, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Religion makes you stupid, but being a fundamentalist religious believer prevents you from becoming smart or really educated.
No. So understand that, like, being someone who's a person who's a member of a cult that forces you into stuff or forces things onto you or forces you down a path, like, understand, you're not free to do what you want. You're being forced down a path. That's the same thing with bad parenting or no parenting. Basically, it's this way or that way. Either way, like, that's what I said. If the person is balanced, then it sets you straight up. But if it's far left, then left. It's far right, then right. Like, for example, when people ask me, "Are you red or are you blue?" I say, "I am stars and stripes." For example, because I'm the white in the middle. It's just, I can say the word nigger. Basically, I can say faggot because they're just words. There's no context. There's no connotation. Nothing is tied to it. I understand the context doesn't exist. And if you want to be emotional about a word, GTFO. There's the door. Don't let the door hit you where the Lord split you. And again, we say God exists because why the fuck not? That's simply put. But anyways, continue.
But what's the difference? And Charlie Kirk is absolutely an advocate for that. He hates public education. He doesn't think it should exist. Now, here's why this tweet is incredibly stupid. Education, he doesn't think it should exist.
The reason why is because he's what's called compelled by his masters. Essentially, he is a service dog. They want something, and he is just a method to get it. And so he hates public school because he wants everything to be private. He wants you to be religious because he wants to control your mind. Not him, but basically like in his direction, and his direction is like people that own all the banks and all the pharma, and deny schools funding, and tax breaks for the rich, and all that shit. I have a paper called what's it called, the Downfall of America. Basically, I have names: Paul Ryan, Steve Bannon, Jeff Sessions, Lindsey Graham, Jim Jordan, Pete Hegseth, R.K. Jr., Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Fox News, Marco Rubio, the Imperial Jubilee, and owners, Netflix and owners, Ben Shapiro and Friends, Ben Shapiro and Friends, Paramount Global, PMN, Paramount Media, CBS Global, Columbia Broadcasting System. Just to name a few, to point out name changes to avoid, what's it called? To avoid penalty. Avoid, because I always forget the word, so, oh shit. I always forget the name. Avoid penalty and punishment. And for evidence, think of Trump and his leg splints, right? Apple TV, Owen Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson, all of them, because I said anyone related to them, as in they work together, not related. But the idea is they control your mind. They want to, and they sell you out, and the puppets that own or run for work for the rich, to sell you out and get you crushed, because they own, like the people that own America own the world. But for some reason, people only, it's because they're honest, and they only look at America because they're just honest. They're just trying to make a buck and just make the country work. Like AOC, I'm focused on making the world work, but I'm too busy with our nation to understand that people own the world, and the suicide bombers are the same fucking people that the people are. They are a result of the same people that are in charge of the world now, basically. Like January 6th, 9/11, Jeffrey Epstein, Black Lives Matter, and how there's actually violence there, how there's actually break-ins and whatnot. They started. They lead, or what's it called. There are riots, but what happens is they infiltrate the riots, and they go and try to blow a place up and try to get people to go and join them in the mayhem and the chaos, so that they could say, see, look how evil they are, they destroyed this place. But in reality, it was actually Trump's people. This is why they had a theist and an atheist encampment or party or something across the street from one another. Basically, it's because they're trying to start shit. So that's shit to talk about. So there's media and there's content. Basically, what they're doing in reality is they want to be able to talk, and they point the finger like, see, this is the goal. This is why you should pay me. This is why you should not have money, and so on and so on. And again, this is why Bernie Sanders, the Bernie blackout, disappeared, and why I can't get any audience and whatnot, because they know I bring people together and I don't split them apart. So they don't like me.
Now, here's why this tweet is incredibly stupid. Isaac Newton did not believe in the Trinity, did not believe in originals.
This is why IQ doesn't matter to me, because you have to point out something like this because you're a bookworm, stupid idiot, and you don't actually understand what intelligence is, and people who are intelligent know better, basically. And congratulations, your IQ and your intelligence, like whatever that fucking IQ stands for. In fact, just because I can, just to show you what I can. Can you explain to me what IQ stands for and what it means to have a high IQ?
Sure. IQ stands for intelligence quotient. It's a measure that's used to assess human intelligence through a series of standardized tests. The average IQ score is set at 100, and most people score somewhere around that number. Having a high IQ generally means that you might have strong problem solving skills, logical reasoning, and the ability to understand complex ideas more quickly. But it's also important to remember that IQ is just one way to measure intelligence, and there are many other forms of intelligence and talents that aren't captured by an IQ test.
There you have it. And that's why I don't trust IQ, because that's just one factor. There are many factors. There are many factors. But anyways.
Sin did not believe in hell. So according to Charlie Kirk, Isaac Newton isn't a Christian. So Jesus hasn't satisfied the mind of Newton. Blaise Pascal, a Christian, yes, but his heterodox ideas, particularly about Jansenism, were being constantly condemned by his own church.
And for the record, reading from a piece of paper, because you're not actually smart. You just are a bookworm. You know what I mean? This is why I always call it AI is not actually intelligence, and it's just a program. And IQ is not intelligence, it's just a program. Basically, this is your stuff with information. And yes, you know the information, but when it comes to actually being an alpha, for example, and leading onto new territory or new ground where there's no roads, people like you fall apart. Because that's where you actually need to be able to go off-road and actually use your head, and not just, you're thinking of, like, that's not what IQ or intelligence is. Intelligence is to be able to say, this is this. Not so much, so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said. You understand? Continue.
Tolstoy flat out rejected the Trinity and the divinity of Christ and the resurrection and miracles and the sacraments and original sin and the authority of the church and biblical inerrancy.
Cool.
Absolutely not a Christian. Tolstoy thought that Jesus's moral teachings were pretty groovy. Dostoevsky.
I don't like the fact that you have to edit every fucking 5 seconds too, by the way. You notice when you're watching my video, I don't have an edit. Not a single one. You know why? It's because fuck you, first off. Secondly, I don't have the patience. I used to be paranoid because I had to basically jump through hoops. I used to think this until I got older. Basically, and I know this would happen sooner, or it may not have happened at all if I had never been born. If my disability never hindered me. I may be professionally jumping through hoops, basically, which is what they wanted, basically. But because of my disability, I'm an outsider looking in. I can see, like, why are you doing this? 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 You know what I'm saying? And so I have real intelligence. So
pretty much.
And that's why me and Bernie Sanders are, like, we don't necessarily, they don't necessarily make anti-us, because then being anti-us gives us grounds to say that you're targeting us, and that makes us rise up more, basically. They tried to do that one time by saying he's a chauvinistic pig, and it was like, Bernie Sanders is a pig? What the fuck? And all it does is make people more, outraged. So what they did is they just stopped talking about him, and that's the Bernie blackout. And people are confused with the Bernie blackout. Like, no one tried to target him, no one tried to alienate him, no one tried to, target him in general. That's the idea, is no one said anything or anything ever with him, and they talked around him. They would say, this person is a first, and this person is a third and fourth, but they would never tell you Bernie Sanders is in second. You know why? It's because, he's making that much jump, he's making that much of a motion, I'm going to vote for him now. You know what I'm saying? Instead, they act like he didn't exist. So, and sure enough, that's what happened. So, anyways.
Traditional Christian. Augustine and Aquinas.
Edit.
Yes.
Reading more of your favorite cool.
They accepted Christianity. But Charlie Kirk would absolutely hate...
nice face touch, by the way.
at least Aquinas. Here's some
I
quotes
do
from
because
Aquinas. Whatever
what's-
certain
I'll
people
share,
have in abundance.
I do because generally there's like there was something there bothering me. You do it because you're just doing it because you're tweaking. Like, oh, my drugs are making me high. Oh, this reaction, my nose itches or tickles, or my face, and this is what we called the tweaker back in the day. Cause it's sitting there like, I'm so fucking high. You know what I'm saying? But me, I drool and I actually have dirt on my face or whatever, so it looks like it. Unfortunately, I have an excuse. Not everyone can use this excuse because I have an excuse. But the point is, there are characteristics that you can draw from. Like, people go all the time, like Trump, for example, is because he's on uppers. He's hella fucking high, generally speaking. And there are normal streamers that'll be talking, and then you hear them, you see this? Basically, this, right? Like, something or another. They'll rub their nose, and this is popular here. This is popular. Popular as fuck. So, no. That's it. That's because they're high, basically, and they have like a tickle they feel in their nose, and they got this rub it, and they rub it, and the tickle goes away. But me, I had the scissors came in the mail. Where the fuck are they? Came in the mail, by the way, and I was able to cut my nose hairs, basically. So I had a problem with nose hairs tickling my nose, and it made it seem like I was rubbing my nose a lot, but it's because I had nose hairs and I don't. So
Ought to go to supporting the poor. It is lawful for a man to support his own need by means of another's property, by taking it either openly or secretly. This is not theft or robbery. You know the whole thing of if Jesus came back today, then MAGA Republicans would deport him or throw him in jail or whatever. Charlie Kirk would absolutely hate Jesus, and Jesus would hate Charlie Kirk,
right.
and vice versa for
I actually posted a video recently saying that if Jesus Christ did come back, he'd probably work at where did I work at before? I forgot the name of it. I remember there's a clothing store, but chances are he'd be a minimum wage worker just to survive because they made it to where you need to play the ball or you need to play the game to survive, and you're playing the game to survive, but you're being lazy, so therefore we should be able to deprive you, despite the fact that you're playing the game to survive. You need to play. Why aren't you sucking my dick while you're at it? Then you should get enough to survive. But until you suck my dick as well, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of happening.
most of the people on this list. Johannes Kepler, he was a devout Christian. I mean, he accepted Christianity, except he got expelled from his Lutheran institute, and some Neoplatonists around did or will take his entire life. That there's a contradiction. Absolutely not of and being a of he was an
I'm skipping because all he's doing is disproving that these people were religious.
abolitionist treat church and state, which Charlie Kirk pretends never was a thing and shouldn't be a thing. What almost all of these brilliant people had in common was that, for the most part, they weren't mindless, bootlicking parrots like Charlie Kirk.
Right.
They thought radically different from typical Christians.
Right.
Several of these people on this list aren't even Christians. But
Right.
that is something. The gift
I did that just to illustrate a point, by the way.
to even Christians. But that is something. The gift of their intelligence and daring to go against the grain of traditional Christian thought, that was something that either made them change the way generations of Christians thought or got them in trouble. Again, the kind of thing that Charlie Kirk should say these people should be locked up or deported or condemned for. Now, surely the smartest man in the world is going to be able to present to us some radical, different kind of thought that's going to shake things up, right?
Hello everyone, I am the world's highest IQ record holder, Young-Hoon Kim. Why is Jesus Christ God? I have simple, logical, and scientific answer.
Scientific.
Jesus Christ clearly said he was God.
No, literally at no point does he ever say that.
He forgave sins, accepted worship, and said,
He gave his disciples the ability to forgive sins.
I and the Father are one.
When he said, I and the Father are one, just as you are one with me, that clearly. Does he think that all other people are also God? No.
If this is not true, he would be a liar or insane. But his teachings,
Oh
actions,
man, this argument, was he a liar, a drunk, or insane, or whatever? Man.
By the way, let him say his case, then interrupt. Don't. Hi guys, my name is, and I feel like a car. Don't have so false about cars. Like, come on, dude. Let him make his point.
He's really using that argument, huh? Or
Edit.
decades to centuries after he died, people made up details about him.
Yep.
and influence on history prove otherwise. Second, Jesus rose from the dead. This is not just a belief, it is supported by historical evidence.
There isn't a shred of anything outside of the Bible that corroborates this being a historical event. There are things that corroborate people believing in it, very few things, but no. So, was that his idea of the science?
The tomb was empty, and many people claimed to see him alive. Even enemies of Christianity couldn't explain it. His followers were willing to die because they were sure he defeated death.
Ashley Babbitt took one for the team, so therefore, well, Young Hoon Kim.
Did you see it? Did you see it? Remember us talking about before?
Ashley Babbitt took one for the team, so.
That's that.
So therefore, well, Young Hoon.
It's exactly, he did it. He did exactly that. Just to kind of, he does this right here, and then this one, right? It's where you rub the nose, the tip of your nose, and you graze it, because you're tweaking essentially. But yeah.
Hoon Kim is the kind of person to say that would prove that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, I guess.
Third, science says the universe had a beginning.
No, it doesn't say that at all.
The Big Bang. Everything that begins
No.
to exist has a cause. So the universe needs a cause beyond the time.
No, it doesn't. We'll just say that the universe has no cause there.
Space and matter.
This is the smartest man.
That cause must be powerful.
I'm just gonna say no. Nice argument, bro.
Intelligent and personal.
Why? Why does any of that logically follow?
Like a mind.
We don't know what he's even saying. I don't. Anyway.
Human reason, morality, and free will also point to something beyond physics.
In what way? Why do those things preclude the laws of physics being necessary or sufficient for explaining them?
Jesus matches that logic. God
In what way does Jesus match that logic?
entering his own creation to reveal truth and love.
Of course, we're not going to get an answer.
So, using reason, history, and science, the best conclusion is this: Jesus Christ is God.
Yeah, so there's our comparison. Young Hoon Kim parrots the most basic and unoriginal and intellectually shallow slop that we hear all the time. And he does that, why? To appease impressionable, stupid people like Charlie Kirk. This is really sad because you have to combine the kind of stupid you have to be to believe that.
And for the record, it kind of ties with Charlie Kirk is in bed with the Chinese. Essentially, he's willing to believe Chinese, and not so much the Chinese nation, but the red Chinese. That dude looks like he is the son of Xi Jinping, or whatever the fuck his name is. Like he looks related to the kid, to the guy, basically, and that's who uh, Charlie Cook, Charlie Kirk, is quoting, basically. Next on the list is this guy. His name's Kutin, right? And he comes from Russia, but he knows English, and he's like the best Legends player. So let's trust him. Like it's like sad, desperate, pathetic attempts at trying to mislead people. Like they did this with AOC and the squad. Basically, when AOC was announced and once the squad came out, that's how the five came to be. Was because the squad, basically, and AOC came out, and so they invented whatever. Like they had some red version to the blue side, basically. That's all that they are. Like everything that the red is doing is a response to what they see that works on the blue side. Like one day, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for some reason I thought my hearing aid was in my ear, but anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if what's it called? They have some version of me. Like imagine if I caught on, they would have some variation of me, right? I claim to be the smartest guy in the world. There's gonna be some Asian or Russian named Gen, or like some Russian named Ruben, right, or something like that. That's stupid.
Young Hoon Kim's claims about being as smart as he are genuine. You have to add that to the stupidity you have to be convinced that any of those arguments made any kind of sense. And then you have to add that to the stupidity you have to not look at what he's blabbing about on Twitter and think that this is in any way genuine. We are multiplying stupidities here, people. But I think a multiplicitous idiot might be the two best possible words to describe Charlie Kirk and anybody falling for this young
What was that?
Hoon Kim. Words to describe Charlie.
Do you hear it? It sounds like somebody says and he goes Watch. Listen. Listen.
Two best possible words to describe Charlie Kirk and anybody falling for this young Hoon Kim stuff. Thanks for watching, and you'll see me tomorrow.
He's a dumbass. I'm actually the smartest man in the world. They may have the highest IQ, but that doesn't matter. I've already explained it. Like intelligence, you may have IQ as a star. AI is your claim to whatever, but it has nothing to do with actual intelligence. For example, like a dog has a lot of IQ, but because it doesn't know English, it doesn't score as high. That's your logic? No, that's stupid, basically. Like, what you're saying is, like, you gotta understand, there are some things in the world that are behind a paywall. And that's not what intelligence is. Like, you can be on the outside of the paywall and still have the highest intelligence. But for you to say you need to know this thing behind the paywall in order to, like, you're 99 intelligence or IQ, but you can't be 100 until you know this thing that only the people who paid the $5 fee would know, then you can be 100 plus, right? That's stupid, but that's what it seems like everyone's trying to make it out to be. Anyways, I had to because they're trying to say the smartest, and blah blah blah. And I took offense to it because I am the smartest man alive. If you have a problem with that, come to Destiny stream, argue with me, bitch. I'll fucking shit on you. Ninja on Ninja's name. Ninja on the Ninja is my game. YouTube is where I upload, and Twitch is where I reside. Millions, peace, and be happy, save, and God bless, Godspeed, praise be to God, praise be to Yevon. Yevon is Final Fantasy X's god. That's just a name I have because that's, again, it's just they would project that all the time, and so that's what I have. But anyways, I'm here. Peace.